I'm Zach Alalami, Lighting Director for Jazz at Lincoln Center and for Arc3 Design out of New York City, and I'm here to talk about basic busking ideas. So the general idea of busking is being able to light something on the fly, and it bases itself in different methods of lighting a show, whether you use cue lists or use combinations of just manual controls through groups and palettes and target lists on top of using cue lists, and maybe a handful of subs on the side. But all of it comes from the idea of being able to lay out your desk in a way that you can improvise with the band on stage in a very organized manner. You want to get through a song or get through a set as cleanly and easily as you possibly can, and so want to be able to lay out your desk so that everything that you might want to use is quick access at your fingertips, and you don't have to worry about what is going to happen when you do it. All of it is about getting to a place where you have a comfortable level of organized improvisation. How you're going to light a show, how you're going to light a concert, depends on what it is you're lighting and why. A lot of it goes back to the idea of what's the story that's being told. It could be busking a dance set, could be busking an EDM concert, or it could be busking for a band that you know and tour with. But their set list is so vast and their shows change from night to night that it's not worth actually queuing it out like a regular theater show. But you want to be able to run it on the fly as easily as possible. Once you've figured out what type of show you're lighting, then it's about building your basic toolbox. The toolbox will need to include groups, effects, focus palettes, color palettes, beam palettes, submasters. I'm a big fan of inhibitives. Giving you the option to control what you're looking at on stage without having to grab intensity necessarily. And then on top of that is also laying out your cue lists. Combining all those different ideas gets you to a place where you can create compositions on stage, on the fly, that support the music that you're looking at. So the layout we're looking at here is a combination of several show files over several years coming together, and it's something that's generally scalable to different desks. What we're dealing with here is the two onboard screens on Geo, an external touch screen, an external fader wing, and obviously the onboard wing, onboard faders. In the general layout, I go through, and especially thinking for busking a marathon session, if you will. So say it's 5 or 6 hours of a dance floor or an EDM concert where you have no idea what's coming. It's about laying things out in a way that everything I need to get to is available immediately and right in front of me. So working through from the right screen to the left, this large bank of direct selects here are grids of groupings of all the fixtures that are in the rig. This here is all the banks of Sharpies that are in the rig, all my VL3000s, and work my way through all the systems, including a group for everything, and then different offsets or different groupings within those systems as we go along. The right bank of macros here are additional sets of offsets, some quick access query buttons or flexi buttons so I can change displays as I go along. Things that I'll repeatedly want to get to that don't necessarily fit within a group, but I also don't want to have to dig through soft keys to find them. Along the bottom here are more macros. They first start as a bank of macros that recall or stop parameters. So I can just grab my intensities or stop effects on intensities, and same thing for focus or color or beam information. And then these four macros are sort of lifesaver, quickly get through things macros. There's one macro that takes me back to that base cue that is sort of a savior. If I'm in the middle of something and I don't know where to go next, I can go back to my base cue and hit it right away. The next macro, if I'm in a totally manual environment, and I've got too many things that are piling on top of each other and I need to create a new background state, a save this macro that will record whatever's happening manually on stage into a cue that's out of the way, but at least I have a new background state I can go back to. And the next two are mostly for troubleshooting the rig, or when you first start your day, there's a channel check macro and then a highlight macro that are just quick access and can help you bump through things. The last bank of macros are show specific. In this instance, I've got examples of jumping to whether it's effect states or effects channel control, as well as being able to bounce through different cue lists. On the left screen, is parameters and effects. So this layout is divided into 3 areas. I got focus parameters in the direct selects in the top left, color palettes in the bottom left, and then the right section I can toggle back and forth between effects, which are broken up by category, so color effects at the top, motion effects, and then intensity effects. And if I need to, I can flip to a second tab, which pulls up beam palettes for all the different fixtures. And last, on the external screen, it's split into a basic live channel display and a cue list just for reference. And this will also be the screen that if I want to look at something quickly, it all lands on this screen and I don't have to disrupt my onboard. As far as faders are concerned, the onboard faders I use for inhibitives as well as bumps. So there's a master strobe, blinders for the audience, a second set of full-on effects or full-on wash lights, and then strobes for those same wash lights are all always in front of me on this bank of faders. The external wing flips through different cue lists, additional subs that I might want to get into every now and then. There's a sub here for the lead DJ, which is shielded and exclusive, so I never have to worry about it being stuck in a cue list anywhere, but I have separate control of it. Right now, this page has a specific cue list that is for one of the songs we're going to do today. But I can also page through and get to alternate cue lists that I have already prepped for other songs as we get through the night. Once you've determined the basic toolbox that you need, it's about laying out the desk and recording everything as you go along. So let's take a look at several of my different desk layouts. After you have all the basic working blocks built, you got your groups built, all your different target lists are ready to go, you can then end up thinking through, well, what's the easiest way to access all that information, especially if you're dealing, say you're on an Ion with only one external screen, or you don't have as much real estate as we're looking at here. You can start getting into Magic Sheets as ways to quickly lay out information that exists elsewhere in the desk, but is more accessible in one shot. This Magic Sheet here breaks us through general groups on the top left that are divided by system and then by area. So for example, you got all the Sharpies in the system, but then you can also individually grab the bank of Sharpies that are along the edge of the stage, or all the Sharpies that are upstage of the band. Then there's a bank of all the offset macros that allows you to apply grouping permutations to those channel selections. There's a whole bank of effects options, again broken down by category, so intensity effects, color effects, focus and beam effects, and each one of those groupings has a stop effect option right next to it, so you can quickly pop in and out of an effect as you need to. Other target lists laid out below it, so you got a row of focus palettes that you can add to as you go along, all your basic color palettes as well. On the right-hand side, again, are those Mayday buttons. Kill everything with the go to cue out, and that will apply the background time, or you can snap everything out if you need to. And then there's also the go back to my base cue, or save this as my new background state. And then assuming you don't have the option for external wings, there's also a section of the Magic Sheet that's dedicated to just faders that will take you through those inhibitives that I like to use a lot, a special cue stack if you want to use it, your bump buttons, and then any additional faders that will come in handy. In this case, I've got an example of running a pixel map through faders. Now that the desk is all laid out and I've got different options ready to go, let's look at some examples, busking it like I'm really in a theater.
I've always said the nightlife is just not for me, but there is something about the way you feel when you see the city as lights come up as the sun goes down. And in the nightlife, look at all you see, people laughing, people dance, holding glasses, holding hands, it's quite a scene, being caught in the midst of everything. If I could build a nightlife anything you want. Oh, it's all here, you can do anything you want. Oh, you are here, you can be anything you want. Oh, it's all here, you can do anything you want. Oh, you are here, you can be anything you want. Oh, it's all here, you can do anything you want. Oh, you are here, you can be anything you want.
Now that you've seen it all in action, let's break down how it all came together. This was an entirely live manual environment where the only thing I had was starting with that bass cue that I mentioned earlier. So I started by going to bass, which brings up a little backlight on the DJ and a general environment around it. And then from there, I can pile on individual fixtures as the song progresses. This is what I would use for an environment where I have no idea what's coming up next. It wasn't worth spending the time to build cue lists because you don't know if they're going to be right or not, but you want to set yourself up in a way that you can play along with the band, improvise as they do, and really extend the story on the fly. So I could just grab Sharpies if I wanted to, make sure that their inhib is opened up. I would then could bounce through the positions that exist, add an effect to it. Once I'm done with that, while that's running, I would set up the next system. So let's say the VL3000s would be next. I want to make sure they're pointing straight and in a left-right pan, but as a random application. So once I'm done with this idea, or we're on to the next moment in the song, I can quickly open up to the next concept. And while that's running and they're progressing through this verse, I can build the next idea. So let's say 2500s in a crisscross, just doing a red to white bump. When the moment comes, I can switch over to that. All the other things are still running in the background because it's all just manual states. So if I wanted to pile on, I could. If I want to dump everything out, pull the inhibs in, add a little strobe in the front, hit the blinders as you need to, and then open back up. To get yourself in a clean place from song to song, that's where the save this macro comes in handy. Everything's now a manual state. You could be in a place where you piled on too many things and can't control them. So I can resave, and now everything is a hard value. I now have new background states that I can revert to if I need to. So everything you've seen me do is available in currently released software. The best way to get comfortable busking is to keep listening to music. As you listen to it, think through how you would want to light the show, and then get yourself to an environment where you can play. Playing with the desk, playing with a previs, or get yourself on a gig and just try some stuff out. If it doesn't work, don't do it again on that gig. Come back next time around. A lot of the fun of busking is making the mistakes and learning from them and owning the mistakes and just keep going through with it. There's also a large community of programmers out there who are ready for questions if you have any and are willing to help, and so are our friends at ETC. So take advantage of everything you can and have fun and good luck.